Hey everybody, this is Calvin Waite. I trade crypto for a living. I'm not a registered or licensed financial advisor, planner, or broker, so nothing on this channel should be taken as a recommendation to buy or sell. I also trade all of these things, so I probably have a vested interest in there. But there's plenty of entertainment value and lots of education, so this will be awesome. For those of you who didn't know, my subscription channel is live. So look at the link in the description over at cryptoinfluencers.com and you can see how I make all of my trades and what I do and what I think about everything. This channel is for more hypothetical and looking at trends, and the other one is for actual trading. So you might be interested in that. Hey everybody, hope you're surviving this crazy wild market we've got. It was only a few weeks ago when we were all surprised with a massive green candle. Now we're all surprised by a nice red, long red candle. So we're going to dig into this and see what's going on, see if there's anything unusual about this drop, and do all of that. So this is going to be a fun episode. Plus, we have a lot of interesting things to think about in the timing of where we are. So we'll jump in. Just a quick reminder that my home base is at cryptoinfluencers.com. This is the free channel. This is the pro channel. We've had a few new pros show up, which is awesome. It's really cool to have some fresh faces join in the group and all of that. So yeah, the pro channel really teaches you a lot about how to manage your risk. This particular move, I will just go to the 5-minute chart and we'll just take a look and see what we see. Here is kind of the layout. When you exit a red zone, you're usually looking to move up. If you're kind of in an extended bear, if the trend is really against you, you'll exit red zone after red zone. But here we finally had an exit of the red zone and we flipped to the green. This is on the 5-minute. I don't trade the 5-minute chart, but I'm just looking deeper to see if there was anything that would have given us a heads up on this. And honestly, there's not much. If you've gone back this far, there's probably a chance that you'll keep continuing on. And in fact, on the 1 hour chart, we had just printed a golden cross the candle before. Golden cross is generally a bullish signal. So there was a lot of positives. So the fact that this happened doesn't mean you've done something wrong as a trader. If there are lots of signs, we had support off of a support line that we watched for a long time. Yeah, this was our original trading range when we were looking at Wyckoff back. This is weeks ago. So this trading range was in play. We popped below it, we popped above it, and we were finding support on the top of this trading range, and then it broke down again. But as a trader, you're not doing anything wrong if the market gives you something that you weren't exactly planning for. You're not going to get every single call perfect. What makes you a good trader is, can you handle it? What is your exposure? What do you do when things go wrong? All that stuff. Now that's what the pro channel is for, because that's where we could be nailing them one after another, and 9 out of 10, you're just knocking them out of the park. But when that 1 out of 10 comes along, what do you do? And so we are definitely evaluating, but we're always evaluating risk. When things look great, there's always that chance, and you always want to make sure you know where your worst case scenario lies, or where a decently unfortunate event would come, and will it put you out of the game or not. And you just don't want to be ever in a position where something that happens in the market will just take you completely out. But let's zoom in. So I'm going to go to the 1-minute chart, and we are going to dissect this thing piece by piece. First of all, so I'm on Binance. The reason I'm on Binance, let me get to Binance. Binance has the highest volume of all the exchanges. It's where the magic happens. If something's happening on Binance, you can guarantee it's happening everywhere. And you can kind of see my volume at the bottom here. Well, we've had the first I noticed that anything was happening was a 1,100 Bitcoin sell, and then it was followed by 900, and this is in a 1 minute time frame. So we've got 2,000 Bitcoin dumped on the market in a matter of a couple of minutes, and then things increase and increase, and finally we had our biggest candle right here, which was probably a decent amount of long liquidations that got hit. Well, if you're getting liquidated and the movement is only 2%, or it probably triggered here. So like if you get 1.5% movement in the wrong direction and you're getting liquidated, what are you doing? So anyway, you have to make sure that you've got a buffer and you've got to have a plan. But anyway, so we're still breaking this down. Biggest volume spike right here. These were back to back really big, but they still were less than this one. This one was 3,284 Bitcoin in a 1 minute time frame. So this is pretty decent volume. There's a lot more Bitcoin than this out there, but this was enough to move the market. Then we consolidated for a bit, and then we spiked up again, and we had a productive high volume candle and a non-productive high volume candle. Once you start seeing unproductive high volume candles, you know that you're about there. So this spiked down to here and came all the way back up here. So the bears didn't get a full red candle out of this. It ended up getting bought up. And so that means that we're hitting the brakes and we're starting to consolidate sideways for a bit. And I was looking for a selling climax, and this candle finally gave it to us. I'll scoot it up so you can actually see it a little better without everything being mixed in. But this ended up being our highest volume 1 minute candle of the entire thing. It was 3,417 all at once, and it was unproductive. It got bought back up and reversed. So I mentioned to the pro channel on minute 5, I think that was it. And so this was the bottom so far, right? So this was whatever group or individual or whoever the whale was that dumped this. I've seen on the news where people were trying to blame this on the Silvergate thing and whatever, and it's all garbage. Nobody, if you were forced into a liquidation, or if you were forced to sell some Bitcoin, you would want to do it in a way that you could get the most money out of it as possible. Hitting market orders of thousands at a time is the fastest, that's the fastest way to not get the best return out of your money. You'd be wanting to do small little, 10 Bitcoin exits here or there, or set some limit orders, or do something and be patient. If you actually wanted the money, you would do it that way. If you were trying to move the market, you would dump it as fast as you can, like Exhibit A right here. And so when the market, the other thing that makes this interesting is that, let me see if there's a way to do this. Maybe by the hourly chart. Do you see how on the hourly chart, it just, there are spikes, there are dips and spikes and dips and spikes all the way through here? And it's almost pretty regular. Well, these dips and spikes kind of tell you that there is a certain time when volumes are high and a time that volumes are low. It is a little hard to see. But yeah, I mean, it's very regular. You see how this is just regular? Well, the U.S. markets open at 14:30, right here. Wish there was a way to highlight these all the way across. But 14:30 through 2022. Is it 21? I guess I don't quite remember, but it's 21 or 22. So between 14 and 21 or so, this is when the U.S. markets are open. And you'll see that the highest volumes show up in these areas. Right in here. And it doesn't matter which day. I mean, I guess on weekends, obviously, it doesn't matter. So these are probably weekends. But then it spikes back up again during these higher volume times. Well, when does volume die down? It's usually around, after that. So anytime in here, market close is at 0. So it's a couple hours after the U.S. markets close. It's actually 3 hours after or 4, depending on the, daylight savings or whatever is going on. But yeah, it's around 0 or 1 when things are really quiet. Well, what time did this all happen? 1. It was an hour after the close. This is when volumes die down. Volumes were on their way. This was the trading session. A couple of hours later, things get really quiet. This was intentional. This is not a this was not a misreading of the charts. This was not a this wasn't somebody trying to liquidate. Like if a judge wanted someone to liquidate all their holdings because of a bankruptcy or something else, they're going to give them probably 24 hours or at least a couple of weeks to find over-the-counter traders or something like that where you don't impact the market. This wasn't by accident, and they weren't forced out at 1 o'clock during the quietest time of the market. This happened intentionally. They wanted to move the market down. Well, so as a trader, what do? Are you mad about this? Oh, those jerks! Why did they do that? Didn't they know that I was trying to make money here? Well, they're trying to make money too, and the way they make money is they push people around. And this is what is very, very common. Whales push things up. They create a consolidation and sell off what they can, and then they push things down, and then they consolidate, buy up what they want, push it back up again, consolidate, and then push it back down, rinse and repeat. You'll see mirrored matching candles all over the place. And depending on how aggressive or what time of the year it is, they happen more frequently. So especially during really emotional times, like look at this. Look how this was just mirror. 1, 2, mirror, 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 mirror. All of these candles, they just mirror each other. It just depends on how long they want the consolidation to last. And then, so like, here's a crazy move up, crazy move down. These are market manipulation things, and it's part of our market. So you either learn how to play with them or you get wiped out. And so position size, risk management, and all that's all part of this strategy. If you can get lucky enough that you're on the right side of this move, then you can really do well. But sometimes you don't know. Like, in this case, we had moved up so much, I was expecting a mirror to the downside, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen until all the way up here. That didn't help me on my trade very well. So you can't get it right perfect every time. But what you do have control over is your position size and whether you're too exposed to one outcome or another. Well, with all of that information, where would we expect the next move to happen? I mean, there's probably a long candle here. I mean, there may potentially be more downside. But if I was just looking at this from, 100 miles away view, I see a very strong candle here. The answer happened a couple weeks later. 1 week later, we got a reverse. And then a few weeks later, we had a move down. In 7 days, could we have a giant green candle? We totally could. In fact, I'm betting that our next candle will be a big green one. And when will it happen? It'll be when the most people are bearish. It's when our lovely fear and greed index drops below neutral into I'm scared zone. And then suddenly we'll have a move to the upside, and it'll be on some weird news that's completely unrelated. That's how that works. So this is interesting. It's completely, created, but here's our candle. Here's a candle. So now this is going to impact bots. It's going to impact traders. Retail's going to react to this. And the question is what could happen from here? Well, what's interesting about this current setup, if I zoom out really good here, you'll notice that we have not seen a green zone, and our green zone lasted for 1 day, 2 days. we have a 2-day green zone, and it was at the bottom of the bear market. So we have, this was our cycle top. There's nobody's denying that. Nobody's confused about that. We left the green zone right here, and we have not seen another green zone until here. So now we have some interesting things that we can do with this data point. We know that there was a bear market. We know that we've entered a green zone. Wouldn't it be helpful if we could look and see how the market behaved at the other side of a green zone, at the other side of a bear market, to kind of see if there is some information that we can garner from that? So I'm gonna take kind of a zoomed out view. So this is as much data as we can get, and we're just gonna look for a similar pattern. So the last time we had a pretty obvious exit of a green zone and didn't see another green zone through lots of yellow and reds. We exited the red zone here and entered the green here. Well, this particular time, we didn't have a 2-day green zone and exit completely. So this probably isn't going to inform us a ton. But we did get a little overheated and dropped out and had a couple of red zones until we kind of figured ourselves out. There might be something to learn from this, because this mirrors pretty well. In fact, my little matcher that I was using, I guess I haven't shown that. The best variance I've seen in a long time happened yesterday. So this is before end of day. I was expecting a small red candle. That didn't happen. So this was the match that we have seen. And in 2020, we had a pretty decent move up because we were just coming out of this COVID crash. So we had a really steep move up, and then we ended up printing a higher high, and then we were kind of dipping down. In this case, we ended up losing the, in 2020, we lost our 50 and entered a yellow zone before our 100 crossed the 200. So we didn't have everything in line. We have to have price on top, 50, then 100, then 200 to have a green zone. And both the 50 and 100 have to be sloping upwards. So the first time we exited a red zone and had a pretty lackluster green zone was right here. We kind of entered the green zone, but then didn't do much. So this might be a little bit of, this could be informative to us, right? So we had one giant candle that dropped us out of the green zone, and we ended up right here. And that was pretty much the end of it. Like, we didn't really go much lower. There wasn't more downside when we exited this. And why would that possibly be? Well, we kind of had a pretty strong consolidation with lots of support in this area. And we hit it and found it as support. So we ended up better off than we were before. So this was, we found a flip from support and resistance, in other words, and then we kind of took off and we were on our way. So this is a data point. This is something that explains a little bit of the emotions that we're feeling. We've moved up rapidly. We had kind of a lackluster green zone. We're dropping fast, but the market hasn't turned upside down yet. So let's go back to current day. We've moved up really fast. Here's our kind of swing low, and we've dropped down, but we haven't really found a lower low. So this hasn't fully fallen apart yet. I mean, maybe tomorrow we'll, maybe at 1 o'clock UTC tonight, maybe they'll finish what they started. I don't know. Either way, that data point is interesting. This market is heating up. We are exiting a red zone. We did not get into a multi-month green zone where we just got blown off, but we did get kind of a lackluster green zone. We've dropped out, and there's something happening here. One outcome, based on our research that we just did, is that this could be pretty tame. This could possibly be it. There are a couple of differences, obviously. There is a lot of consolidation at a lower range right here. So it's possible that same scenario may play out, but we definitely tested that one earlier. So that kind of puts a little bit of a question mark around this. But if we kind of go sideways and consolidate until this 50 chills out, that would be interesting, because that's going to happen soon. Look at this. Our day 50 is here. So over the next few days, our 50 is going to flatten out big time. So we're going to start leveling off probably around 23,400 or something. Like this will be where our 50 tops out. We're not going to just keep going off this chart. So that means the 50 is going to be within reach, and we still have time before our 100 comes up. And so we could consolidate for a month even down in here, and the second we re-exit the 50, we'll be back into a green zone. Like this would flip from green to yellow to green again. And if we go from green to yellow to green, flipping to green is buy city. Like that is a buy signal. And with our weekly coming down, that could be a really good spot too. So I'm still seeing more bullish scenario than bearish in this situation. I'm not naive to think that going from green to yellow could be catastrophic. It really could drop us. I still think the worst case scenario is 20,000. I think our 100 and our 200 day is really strong support. But with that little bit aside, let's go see what other things happened when we were exiting a, so here's another one. This top is pretty obvious. We started our first red zone after a green, and we had a couple of them, and we got into here. Here's our next lackluster exit to green. So this was obviously a much worse scenario. So this could be an outcome. This was back in a day where markets were a lot thinner. We exited the reddish red zone and went up about 30%. It's looking pretty decent. This one never had a higher high before we exited. So there is a difference emotionally. We started kind of feeling descending triangle at the top. We're not quite there on our current situation, but yeah, I mean, this is pretty brutal right here. Short green zone, hit yellow. This was insane. And then we popped back up, and then the worst of it was over, and then we were off into the next bull market. This bull market had a lot of breaks. We came back, found support on the 50 and the 200 and the 100 multiple times all the way up until 2017, the top of 2017 when we got out of here. So this is a less exciting result. We could get there. Are we overbought? Most likely. Is our structure completely broken? I don't necessarily think so. This was kind of a rejection off of, this kind of became a double top, almost a triple top here, that fell apart. Current day, we are, there's just a whole trading range below us that's just really obvious. Let's see, we'll go up to the KuCoin where I'd put those ranges in. Yeah, see this horizontal channel that we were in? This trading range really has a lot of support in it, and that's why we hit support here. I just don't know. I just don't feel like everything's just gonna blow up and die forever. There's just a lot of support in this area. But there's one last thing that we need to fix, and that is our bearish divergence. We are putting in higher highs and higher lows all the way through here, and the RSI is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And how does this resolve? It resolves by us putting a new low. So if we go to a lower low than 21.6 and have a close down here, our bearish divergence is resolved. and then we can move up. So that's one outcome. Or we consolidate sideways, the RSI mellows out, and then we move up, and our move up breaks an RSI of 67. 68 would be safe. So if we have an RSI of higher than 67, then we've broken it. There is a potential case to be made that here was a high, and then this became our next high, which was a lower high, and the RSI is following that. So it's a weak case, but it is a case. But yeah, so we're just watching this. For the people that have their position size and their risk management on point, nobody's stressed. Those people are sleeping well and everything's good. I am sleeping well. I've got my risk management figured out, and I'm very happy about that. I can deal with some downside, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to the bull breakout on the other side of this. This candle still has 4.5 hours to go. We haven't done anything all day. Like if I go to the 5-minute chart, we are absolutely sideways. And not much is happening. Oh, yes, I forgot to mention this little juicy tidbit. So we had, this market was completely controlled by the bears here, and it happened on these high volume spikes. And as we discovered, anything about 2,000 Bitcoin selling in a productive candle, it really knocks it out, right? Well, we had a couple of attempts. So after all this happened, things were going sideways. We exited the red zone for the first time, just meaning that we're consolidating. Not to say that we're reversing, but that we're kind of going sideways. Well, this happened all night long, and then early this morning, before the market opened, we had one more attempt. Let's see. Where is it? We're looking for a high volume candle right here. Look at this. So this happened more in the middle of the night. So if the market opens at 14:30, this was at 11. So 3.5 hours before the market opened, and there was a high volume candle. This one was, oh, excuse me. Let me get down to Binance, where our numbers are. 11. No, see, that one isn't it. That's why I always look at Binance. Binance shows the higher volumes. It happened right before the market opened. It's here. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So look how interesting this is. We had a bear that saw this moving down and decided to see if they could really blow it out. And we had a 2,000 Bitcoin selling candle. But this ended up being a non-productive candle. It was bought up in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, we were way higher than we started. This is a rejection. This means that bears, and I don't know if it's the same group or just another opportunistic person that had a lot of money, they saw this move down and thought that maybe the market would be scared and tipsy, and that they could attempt this again and drop our market. It failed. That's really weird, right? Like I thought, we just had a massive sell-off. Isn't everyone scared yet? Well, the fact that we recovered so quickly means that there are bigger fish in the pond that aren't ready for it to go down yet. Doesn't say that it's not going to go down, but it does mean that there are big players that are capturing. Yeah, like this feels like a whale selling to whales. This isn't retail getting scared. This is whales, trying to dump the market, and a bigger whale eating all that back up and pushing the price back up into a green zone, which we hadn't even seen. Well, I guess we had here, but I mean, it's pretty. It was a pretty big statement. No, we're not going down yet. And then there was another attempt. Look at this one. This happened during trading hours, the first half hour of the U.S. market open. 1,644 dumped on the market. It bought back up, so it was an unproductive high volume candle, and it went down. And then, the market was completely reversed, back up to parity before it kind of continued doing its thing. Well, just before this stream, or before I recorded this video, we had another attempt. Look at this one. 1,648. That's an odd number. 1,644. Somebody's got a system. This one was much higher, 2,000. But same number. And what happened? Even though it's, we came down quite a bit, but we definitely had a selling climax that was unproductive. In a matter of 4 minutes, we were back to the top of the original candle. So it really makes you wonder, like, how does this play out? It's hard to know. I mean, it's super early. There's a lot of emotions that the market has to digest. But my initial gut reaction to this is that it feels like the final flush before the rush. This feels like shaking out anybody who's over leveraged, shaking out the last of the people. If we break down a little bit, if we drop further, there will be more real fear. Like more retail will jump in, and there will be some larger companies that are managing risk and hedging and different things. So there's more real fear down here, and perhaps we'll see it in the next few days. But as far as today's candle, like this is what we're going to get most likely. And it's really odd that on these smaller time frames that the wicks are being bought back up so quickly. And it really makes me curious, if, I'm back to a 5-minute candle. I have no idea. Will we find strength and randomly recapture our 50? Our 50 is only at 22.8. It could happen. It's very, very tight though. Like nobody's letting this move. So they might be holding it in place, to be honest, and then they'll do another candle of whatever kind they want. It might be bearish though. So anyway, you got to kind of plan for those outcomes, but it looks very manufactured, and it also does not feel long lasting, at least at this point. Well, all of this was kind of sad because we completely nailed the S&P's action. Look at this. We nailed this. S&P. This is the X. X marks the spot. We were watching for a reversal. We were looking for a bounce big time right here. And we had a massive bullish engulfing candle. A mini version of this one that marked pretty much our entire year's bottom. Yeah, multi-year bottom. And we had a perfect mini match to that right when we needed it. Yeah, you just can't listen to the news. The news is misdirection. The chart says the bottom is here, and it is. Like we've really moved off of it really hard. And if we overcome 417 on the SPY, yeah, there will be no mistake. It will be we'll be moving off. Well, I was hoping that with a big move in Bitcoin, a big move on the broad markets, because Bitcoin tracks the broad markets normally. Well, the two best, most bullish days, the Bitcoin just got crushed. Red day, coming off of a green, big. I mean, we gapped low, but then we just had it buying nonstop all day long, and it only brought our Bitcoin up just a teeny bit to get us above our 20. But we were like primed for a reversal, and it just didn't happen. But then today we gapped up and had a green candle. This should have pulled Bitcoin up. In every other market, this would have happened. But everyone's digesting the emotions of this midnight marauder. So we just take what we get, I mean, we can't change the past. We can't remove the whales from a market. We have to be able to deal with everything that comes. And that's why a patient strategy, a patient strategy, I'm struggling today, is the right one. You gotta be patient. You gotta be able to let the emotions go, and you've got to have a small enough position that you've got room to wiggle. You don't want to get liquidated, and you don't want to be in such a tight spot that you can't sleep and that this is ruining your life. So anyway, that's that's the video for today. I'm watching this play out just like you are, you know. This is ugly though. We're going from green to yellow. The ramifications of that can be very serious. So there's a lot at play. I like my risk currently. I can handle a move down to the 20. And so I'm kind of sitting back watching and waiting. So if anyone else is struggling with all of that, you can join us on the pros, but no pressure. All right, we'll see you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for making it to the end of my video. Make sure you keep those trades small. Don't force a trade. Don't get impatient. And if you want to see how all this works, please come over and check me out on the subscription channel at cryptoinfluencers.com. Again, the link is in the description.